Here I am, everybody. My goal this year is to create content that is outside of my default mode. I normally create content in written form, and as I've mentioned in previous posts, what happens when we only create content in our default mode is we leave out the people that want to consume our content in different forms. And so when I'm only writing my content, people that don't want to read are never going to ever be able to consume it. And so I'm trying to do more audio, more video content this year for you. And this is my attempt. This is my first attempt at putting in video form for you. And I just want to share some thoughts with you. One of the most powerful ways to create content is to create content that has a suspense element to it, that creates anticipation in the people that are consuming our content. I was watching a biography on Charles Dickens last night, and I knew that he had written David Copperfield and Oliver Twist, and he created the Scrooge character. I mean, he was an amazing content creator. But what I didn't realize is that he got his break into the whole field of writing as an author by creating a series of stories called the Pickwick Club. And what it was these short chunks of published books. Instead of a complete book, there were these series of stories that were released over time about this Pickwick Club and these different characters. Some of the characters were Samuel Pickwick and Nathaniel Winkle and Augustus Snodgrass. And as he did in all of his content, he created these hilarious, memorable characters. But what was unique about it is that these stories would play out over time, and people would read the first one, and they would want to know what's going to happen to the second one, and they would create buzz because they would talk to others about, man, did you read what so-and-so said, or what so-and-so did in that story, and I wonder what's going to happen next. And it created this momentum, and so that his content would build off the next story, which would build off the next story, which would build off the next story. And what it ended up doing, if you think of the product he was selling, was himself. It propelled Charles Dickens into the arena of being an author that was given the platform to create these stories that are still with us today. And it made me think, some of the most popular content that is out there nowadays, whether it's in written form or video form, is content that is built off suspense and anticipation. Some of the most popular blogs that I read are popular because they're constantly providing new content. I don't know what's going to happen. It keeps me in suspense. I don't know what they're going to build off what they said, what they're going to teach me from what they said in the last post. Or sometimes the blogger is bringing in aspects of their life, and sometimes I'm learning new things about them. Or so it creates this suspense, and I go back to it like this serial story. Same thing when you think of some of the most popular movies of our day. Indiana Jones, Star Wars are both films that have this suspense and anticipation that builds off of the previous story and creates this momentum. And so I would encourage you today, as you're thinking of creating content to sell your product or your service or sell yourself, that you think about how can you leverage and capture the concept of suspense and anticipation. How can you use it just in the content you're creating today? How can you use suspense at the beginning of your content to draw people into it? How can you create anticipation by building off of, instead of just creating maybe one blog post, creating a series of blog posts that builds momentum and gets people talking? So think about that lesson from Charles Dickens today, put it into practice, and let me know how it goes. Have a great day. Bye.